Since Daisy does not currently have a 22 caliber pump rifle that is rifled and in 22, I went with the Classic by Crosman. If Daisy brought back the 922 with rubber magazines and a rifle barrel, I would be excited to go ahead and buy it. But this is what's out there that's a good gun. I have to tell you, I will only see this as a short rifle. So when you see the stock on it, that stays on there. And I just call it the 1322 short rifle. And it's beat all my expectations. I had modest expectations, but it's beat them all. So anyway, so we're going to talk about cleaning this up out of the package and general cleanup and lubing. And so let's go ahead and begin with what to do when it's out of the package. Now, unfortunately, what we have here is when it is out of the package, the barrel here is full of brown grime. To be fair to Crosman, the Daisy air guns tend to come with a red dust or red grime. I found it in the barrel of a Grizzly and caked in the chamber seal of a 77. So what we need to do is when we see this, people think, oh great, that's solid steel, it's blued, that's great, but we need to protect this because Daisy does use enamel, but primer and enamel is an excellent protector. This is great, yes, a solid steel barrel and blued, but we need to protect it. And so we need to use an oil that won't threaten your gun. And when I say threaten your gun, I mean to threaten the seals. We don't want anything that's going to threaten the seals. So we're going to use good old Ballistol. Now, Ballistol is non-toxic. It's been around forever, and it will do a great job of cleaning up your gun out of the package. So that's what we want to do, clean up the outside and do one sweep of the barrel. There are those who believe that with the barrel, you only, or maybe never clean it out, but I don't agree with that. You should get the factory grime out one time, one and done. So let's go ahead and begin. So with the grime that I got on here, it's like a brown grime. Yes, it's factory grease, but there's actually dirt on there. I advise using these blue industrial rags you get from the auto store. They're pretty soft and they're really durable. I've actually put one of these in the washer and it held up. So we take our Ballistol and I would say spray it on there. Don't spray it directly on the gun. You'll just waste a lot of it and overspray. And so then what I did when I first was doing this, it was really, really dirty. And now it comes out clean. You don't see anything on there. But it wasn't like that when I got it. So clean that barrel. Also open up your folds. You have the edges right here. Make sure to get in between. You have a crevice right there. So make sure to get in between there as best you can. And I did do that. It's not necessarily super easy, but do what you can. And see, there we go. So get under there. Clean that and get in there with your Ballistol on your towel and give it a good wipe down. You'll have to turn it over a few times. You'll have to do this and turn it over and do that a few times and open up the pump, get the body right there. And then after that, I noticed when I did that, it got a lot of the grime off. This thing was covered in black until it was clean like you see now, but it didn't really put a good protective coat on here. So then what I learned is to go ahead and take your Ballistol and and go ahead and put it on a nice towel. And again, kind of pretty much soak it, do a little circle and soak it. And then come over the top, and that right there, you see, it puts on a nice sheen, it puts on a nice protective coat. Get the whole thing. Get the other side. And it does a good job. Get the trigger. Anything you see that's metal, basically. And if it gets on anything else, it doesn't matter. It doesn't hurt anything. So that's one thing I want to go over. Because, let's go ahead and get a good look at our buddy here. Is that, okay, there's, of course, break free. And, of course, if you dump this in salt water for 5 days, something's going to give. But break free is excellent oil and is excellent for a firearm. But we have to have a compromise of something that's not going to harm your seals. That's not a threat to the gun. It's not a threat to the Crosman. So this is great for air guns. So that's what we're going to go with over the other options. Also, I would say WD-40 and 3-in-1 are great products, but I talked to the old timers. The old timers made clear, don't use that on air guns. WD-40 and 3-in-1 are great for other uses, but keep them away from your air guns. Okay, so that's that. So as you saw, we used this to clean all the serious grime off, which when this started, it was black. It's clean now. and we use a nice towel to put a protective coating on there. Now, you put this on there after it's clean like this. You go ahead and put that on there after you handle it heavily, after a day of shooting. If you got caught out in the elements, you can put it on there. And the thing is, I've actually seen this barrel here where it's actually rusted and has pits in it because they didn't even try. And not any oil. I mean, they didn't try with any oil, but we don't want to use this any oil. Ballistol is a good one. Basic motor oil will be okay. Ballistol is a good one though. So let's go ahead and clean the inside of the barrel one time. So again, this is something you do just once for you guys that are pretty, you know, dead set against cleaning your barrel of your air gun. But it's really a one-time deal. We can just say that's one time. People have been watching my videos know I like using this rubber-coated coat hanger. For a 22 barrel, the regular air gun patches work. You just double up on them. And then go ahead and get it down there. Open up the breech. Let's go and give you a little close-up of that. And gently push it through there. Okay, so you do that. I'm not going to waste too much time on that. So you do that. That's just graphite, basically. That's just graphite from Pellets. It was really filthy when I first got in there, and this is actually still pretty clean. So you do that 3 or 4 times, and then put a dry patch through there, and you're good to go. So this barrel and the gun is clean. So let's go ahead and look while we're here at certain aspects. The sights are good on this. So you have your windage right there, and your elevation is right there. And they're crude sights, but not any cruder really than Daisy. I mean, you have your basic elevation there. I switched out to the peep sight, of course. And one comment I wanted to make for younger shooters is that when you have a peep sight and a stubby little gun like this, a great short rifle, it's kind of blocky. The sights are kind of blocky, but the point, or that is the peep sight, eliminates a lot of the problems because your iris automatically centers that with your front sight and the target. So you only have to focus on the front sight and the target instead of a notch, which is the notch, the front sight, and the target. So the peep sight's great. It eliminates a lot of problems on a small little gun like this, on a short gun like this, a short rifle. Okay, so let's get to the pump. This is where, or actually here, before we get to the pump, I want to go ahead and make sure you don't forget about a little seal in there. A lot of people don't know about that even, or just forget about it. And you shouldn't forget about it. Okay, nice close-up there. Okay, there's a small O-ring right there, and we do want to get our oil on there. Now, Crosman is a Crosman product. Crosman makes its own oil. It's 20 weight. So we'll talk about the Crosman oil. Just put a drop on there. Don't need much. There you go. That's a little spot. And so there we go. Okay. And Crosman has a 20 weight oil. So let's go ahead and show this little baby off. Okay. It has a sill protectant in it. Now, I want to make clear as a Daisy guy on a Daisy channel that I use 30 weight non-detergent. But this is actually really liked by a faction of people who believe that it is the best because it has a sill protectant in it, meaning that they think it prolongs the life of the O-rings. So it's 20 weight with a sill protectant in it. Of course, a jug of 30 weight is much cheaper, but there is a faction who are diehards. So let's be polite. It's a Crosman gun. They have their own oil, so let's use it. So now let's get into the pump. Okay, so let me zoom. We want to zoom in on the joints right here. Okay. Now, when I got this open, it was full of grit. It was, you could see it like sand. It was just filthy. So you want to take your Ballistol and, you know, go ahead and give it a little squirt on there, and go ahead and clean that. And again, this is just a cleaner. And just to beat anybody to the punch here, no, don't use it as. There we go. Okay, you don't use it as a lubricant. Crosman doesn't want you to do that. It's not thick enough. Great for cleaning and preservation, but don't use it as that. And see the joint right here? Get that. This has already been done already. I'm just demoing. And get all around there and get inside that crevice right there. You'll want to get in there and clean that out. Here, hold on. Okay. So in that crevice, you definitely want to get in there where the joints are meeting and clean that out. There we go. See that? Clean that out. Okay, and I've already done all that. So now let's get into what you need to see a close-up of, and that is the pump head. All right. Okay, there we go. All right. Maybe a little too close. No, okay. You get an extra. Okay, there we go. Okay, so we don't have a wiper system like you do in Daisy. So there's your back of your pump head. You want to put it right on there. So go ahead and demo for you. So we put a drop. It's already been lubed, so I just put a drop on there. And then one other part that people don't talk about is this all-important joint right there. So get a little on there. The joint I found on my M4, when you do lube that joint and you get your oil in there. Here, hold on. Let me do it again. When you do that, I found it much easier to pump. Okay, look, you're not going to over lube this. You'd have to drown it. And 4 drops roughly, 2 in back of the pump cup, 2 on that hinge, will make it much smoother. Daisy is much easier to pump. Let me back out. Okay, Daisy is much easier to pump than Crosman, but when you get it here and on that pump head, the pump cup, Daisy speak, this is a pump assembly. It's much easier to pump. So just do that. And also on your joints, make sure to put a drop in here. And you don't have to do that all the time. Put a drop right there. So that's not a big deal. So you see that. And then of course, when you close it up, you have your pivot point there. There's a pivot. I don't feel the need to blow that up, but go ahead and put a drop there. Okay. And go ahead and work that. And so there we go. So get the joints. It's not a big deal as far as, wait, there we go. As far as the pivot point and the joints, don't need to get that much oil on it. But anyway, so that's that. And the one thing I wanted to talk about is my pellet selection. Again, a great short rifle. I wish Daisy would come out with a Rifle 22 version to compete with this, but so this is what I ended up doing, buying a Crosman. So, I mean, if the board of directors at Daisy isn't heavy invested in Crosman, well, this not having a 22 helps. As far as, you know, not being competitive with Crosman that way. This is a great short rifle, and I will never take the stock off. And if I do to put it in a bag, I will put it right back on. It gives me inch accuracy, and I just want to conclude by saying these are the best pellets for this gun, I believe. And I'll get more into the story in the written section, so please look into the written section. And Excite hollow points, used to be called Civil Bearers, been around for decades. And for low power guns, low velocity guns. Thank you.